Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 challenge run. Hope you're all doing well. Today, we're going to be doing the High Noon Challenge. This is one that I've previously tried, not recorded, and not succeeded on yet, so there's no guarantee that we'll be able to win this. This is one of the most difficult runs, I think, in Brotato, and we're going to be playing the one-armed using only the revolver. So we are going to be cowboying it up in the High Noon Challenge with only 6 shots to our name. This is really difficult because during the cooldown period of the revolver not being able to shoot, the one-armed has no way to defend itself, and it has no area of effect, so you can quickly get overwhelmed by a lot of enemies. To counteract that, of course, we have triple attack speed from the one-armed and double damage modifications. So each of our individual bullets will be hitting for a truckload of damage, but we will be firing very few of them. Let's see if we can make this work. So right off the start here, we just want to make sure we're getting as much money as possible in Wave 1. The one-armed's incredible attack speed obviously makes you a very good Wave 1 clear speed character, so you should be getting a lot of money in the first wave. We're going to try to pick up at least some of it. More important to kill more enemies and just have a little more money banked than it is to pick up every single material in the very first wave. Here I am, I think, going to take harvesting. We could also just go all in on damage and just take attack speed at this point, but wave 1 harvesting is so valuable that I'm just going to pick it up right away. We don't need to roll for weapons at this point because, of course, we only have one, and we actually did find the second level revolver. I think there's possibly some consideration to not even upgrading the revolver to level 2 early and waiting to do that, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that. A revolver at level 2 is definitely better than at level 1. Even though it costs us 4% damage and we already have 200% attack speed, coffee is so efficient that we're going to pick it up anyways. And then I'm going to buy the head injury to offset our damage penalty. Do I care about the hedgehog here? Plus 2 ranged damage is excellent, but I could also use this item slot to roll for an economy item. I think the damage output is just going to be the most important, so we're just going to lock these 2 items and go to wave 2. Having upgraded our gun to level 2 definitely puts us in good stead here. Already you can see I took a hit there because my gun was on cooldown, so we weren't able to defend ourselves. Trying to make sure we kill this tree. We want to have enough damage that we one-shot all of the enemies. Oh, another tree. All right, nice. 2 trees. No boxes from those trees, but still very good. I'm going to take luck here. I could also roll for damage or just take the speed, but luck is going to be very important for this build because one of the ways that we can do damage to enemies, not just with our single revolver, is going to be with baby elephants and cyber balls, so we want to scale our luck to make the damage from those as high as possible. And then I'll take the base damage over the percent damage. Do I want to reroll 1 slot for 3? We only see effectively 1 slot if I reroll here because we're guaranteed to see 2 weapons in the shop. So unless we get the very unlikely chance of rolling exactly a level 2 revolver to be able to upgrade, we will get no value from those slots. For that reason, I think I'm going to just save my money. We've got an item locked already. Not the best opening shop, in part because we did end up buying a couple like medium items. I think that the head injury and the plus ranged damage item were good purchases, but obviously not the, they're in like the top 20% or so we're happy to pick them up, but they're not in the top 5%, so we definitely could have done better if we'd found more powerful items. Scar, of course, is excellent. That's one of the most powerful items we could find. More stats is more good. That is one of the remarkable insights that you can expect here on youtube.com/Cephalopocalypse. We're going to take the harvesting here. I would like to get to 21 harvesting. We're not going to invest heavily into it, but when we find it this early, I think it's worth picking up. Take 2 more ranged damage, which is, of course, 4 ranged damage because of the one-armed passive, and then 12% damage. Take our reroll here. Take 1 armor as well. We will probably be taking hits, so armor will be pretty important. And given that we don't have that many slots open to actually find useful items, I think we just have to buy anything good that comes up. Dynamite is kind of interesting. We get 30% explosive damage, so if we do find like a landmines or something like that, then we could make good use of it. But I think we'll pass on it and look for something better, and that something better did indeed show up in the form of a fertilizer and a scar, so we will very happily lock those two items, go to wave 4. That was definitely an above average shop for us, so we got some pretty good economy items out of that. I do still need some damage. These early waves are not going to be a challenge. It's around wave 7 where we start falling behind in terms of damage compared to other characters, because other characters by then will have a full set of level 1 and at least some level 2 weapons, whereas we're still working with a single revolver at that point. So the one-arm's inherent disadvantages start really compounding at that point in the game. All of these items are really good. I think I'm going to take the 10 luck, though, over the 6 HP. I would take lifesteal third, I think, though we do probably want to be a regeneration build more than a lifesteal build. Although we attack very fast, we only have one weapon, so we're not actually going to be lifestealing that much. And many enemies, the plan at least, is that our enemies will just die in one hit, so we won't have a chance to lifesteal off them for the most part. Very happy to take 6 ranged damage here, though. That will help us take out enemies much faster. And then another scar, an ugly tooth, and a weird food are all excellent finds for us. And there's the baby elephant I was talking about. I also do... This is interesting. So 5 luck. We're going to buy the muscly dude, because our HP is quite low. -5 luck is a real penalty, especially because we are trying to go in on baby elephants, but our speed is at -5 already, so I think I have to take Terrified Onion here. It's not my favorite purchase, but playing at -5% speed is so dangerous. I really need to offset that as soon as possible. Obviously, we'd have preferred if that was a better way to buy speed, but you have to take what the shop gives you. When we have a choice of which enemies to kill, because we're not going to clear the entire wave this wave, we want to be prioritizing the ranged enemies because they have a higher chance of dropping consumables, and those consumables have a higher chance of dropping crates. The default enemies, it's a 1% chance of a consumable and a 1% chance that becomes a crate, so a 1 in 10,000 chance per enemy that you get a crate. With the ranged enemies, it's 10% each, so it's only a 1 in 100 chance that you get a crate by default. And of course, that gets increased by luck, so if you kill a bunch of those in a wave, you can pretty reliably pick up a crate. We'll get Clockwork Wasp here. I could take elemental damage. It's possible we could go down the route of using Scared Sausage or something like that, but I think I'm going to roll here for luck or healing, anything that can help keep us alive or deal more damage. I'm going to grab the lifesteal here and then 15 luck. That's perfect. And here's one of the challenges of playing the one-armed, of course, is that we found this level 3 revolver, which means that we have to lose quite a bit of value by selling our level 2 revolver to buy it. It's still important that we do that. The cooldown is much faster on the attack, and of course it does more damage, scales better with our very high ranged damage, so very important that we do recycle and buy the leveled up revolver, but we lose a lot of money compared to another character. Take the baby elephant here as well, and then I think we will grab the spicy sauce. It's an inefficient way to buy HP, but we do need to buy HP, so we're gonna pick that up. And while the explosions are not incredibly powerful, they are relevant, because we will end up with a lot of percentage damage on this build, since we're the one-armed and you get percentage damage. You buy percentage damage at double value. So we'll end up dealing a decent amount of explosion damage with the spicy sauce explosions, if they hit things, which they usually won't. The real challenge with spicy sauce is just that the explosion's not very big, so you usually won't actually hit enemies with it. Although I will say, because of the the High Noon Challenge, we are letting a lot of enemies get close to us. So actually, I'm kind of revising my estimation there. Because of, you saw like the pattern that was happening as we were playing the game. Enemies were clustering up around us. If we'd had spicy sauce there, we could have stepped on some of those consumables for a chance at blowing them all up. So that actually might be an important component of our damage. I'm going to take 16% damage there. That's a huge amount of bonus damage, so pretty happy to have that. And then we'll grab this, and I think I want the attack speed over and range over the HP for this level. I will do one reroll here. I think I still do want regeneration over lifesteal, so we'll pick that up. I'm not going to take landmines. And gambling token, I do want to build dodge, but I think we want to make sure that we have offensive stats before we invest heavily into things like dodge at this point. And also our health is quite low, so the dodge isn't that valuable yet. And I'll let a couple of these big slashers spawn and see if we can gain extra money by killing them. It looks like we can sometimes, but I probably don't want to let them spawn too often later in the round. Otherwise, we will end up with a lot of enemies. Because it does take us multiple shots to kill them, and each shot from our 6-shooter here is so valuable for taking out an enemy in a single shot. Oops. I shouldn't have stepped on that box. I should have saved the consumable both to heal with and also to potentially use as an explosion. Alright, so we passed wave 7. That was the first wave I was really worried about. The next one is going to be wave 9. Wave 9 is going to be very dangerous for us. Do I take regeneration here, speed, max HP? I think with only 24 HP, we just have to take max HP. Take some crit chance, or I could take 10% damage. Either of those would be good. Let's just take the critical hit. That'll be good for killing the elites when we get to that point. I will buy this, and I guess I'll take 2 HP as well. Roll again. 3% crit for -1 health, I don't think we want, so let's roll past the claw tree. Mushroom. Yeah, I do want to build regeneration, so we'll take the mushroom. I have bought some items that reduce my luck, so I've kind of reduced the value of the baby elephant, but that is more of a sort of mid to late game thing once we get a little more luck and a little more percentage damage anyways. Right now, it's not a huge component of our damage output. And I think it's more important that we have enough survivability stats that we can make it through the difficult upcoming waves. I do need a little more gun damage right now, because you can see it's taking me several shots to kill the armored chargers, and we really do not want to be in a position where it takes us too many attacks to kill enemies. If it ever takes a full chamber of our revolver here, then we start falling behind. And you can see, because I had to spend several rounds of shots killing high health enemies, there's now a lot of enemies on the field still, and we're having trouble actually clearing the waves. Still making pretty good money at this point, though, so that's not bad, and that's because we invested in the early harvesting. Yeah, we'll take 24% damage. That's good. Take the coupon. And actually, Rip and Tear, I think I might pick up here. Exploding for 22. We have 10 melee damage, just because we've sort of incidentally acquired it by buying things like the muscly dude. And so the Rip and Tear explosions actually will help us wave clear. And we're going into wave 9, where I'm definitely going to need the help wave clearing. So pretty happy to see that, actually. I'm going to take the scope here. It's not my favorite item. Minus 7% attack speed is a severe downside, but I think still pretty useful. If we had the money for it, I would buy the incendiary turret just for help on clearing wave 9. Since we don't, I'm not going to pick it up going into later waves, but for wave 9, this could actually be useful. With no piercing shots of any kind, I'm a little concerned here. I am happy that we picked up the Rip and Tear. It did hurt my harvesting, but you can see it's actually really helping us wave clear here. So our explosive revolver shots are doing a lot of work. I think we would certainly have lost the run on this wave if I didn't have that item, so you do need to find some form of AoE wave clear before you hit wave 9 when you're doing this challenge run. Even pretty mediocre AoE wave clear like this Rip and Tear is going a long way towards making sure that we aren't dying here. And actually keeping us generating income. We're not going to make as much money as you would normally hope to on wave 9. You usually want to make about 500, but 469 is not bad, and we survived, and that's what we were really hoping for. I'll take the missile here, and then I think just 6 HP. We don't need to build harvesting this late. I could take 6 melee damage to boost my Rip and Tear. I think we aren't going to worry too much about that past wave 9. That's the wave we really needed it for, so I'm just going to take the 10 luck. Take the damage here. I could use a little more speed, but I think I actually don't want to buy Compass. What I'm worried about right now is that we have no healing, really. We've got 5 regen and 1 lifesteal. So I want to try to find some method of healing. Wisdom. The early parts of the wave aren't horrible for us, because we have just the bonus attack speed from the one-armed, which helps us clear the early parts of the wave. So I actually think this might be a Wisdom angle. The power of Wisdom here is that it will help us kill the elites with our relatively low damage output, just by killing them later on. This could be a big mistake, because it does reduce my damage by a lot. But I'm interested to see if this will help. Just going to drink some water here. Sorry about that. A bit of a sore throat, so just trying to make sure that I don't lose my voice to bring you Brotato content. We'll pick up more ranged damage here, and I think just more percent damage, and then lock the metal plate going into wave 10. So yeah, so every 5 seconds, it looks like our shots gain about 5 damage. Yeah, 5 damage. So that will help us kill the boss, probably. I don't think we were going to have the damage output to kill it in the first 15 seconds, so I think the Wisdom actually will help out. It's also good for our Rip and Tear, it's good for our baby elephant in the later stages of the wave. Definitely would like to see another Cyber Ball, baby elephant. Although I think the #1 item for us would be Fairy, because our regeneration is so poor right now. We would also take like a Torturer or anything like that. Just any item that sort of on its own solves your healing. Bandana, of course, we will definitely take. Piercing is massively important to this character. Even at the cost of 20% damage, it's just so good for us. And I'll take 15 luck here, and then 4 ranged damage. Going into the elite wave, I just want to buy damage at this point, I think, because we have very little healing, so we just need to have the damage output to kill it quite quickly. We will take the injection as well. We don't have a way to deal elemental damage yet. The ice cube would be interesting if we had Scared Sausage, if we had the item that lets your weapons scale with elemental damage, but I think we can't really use this at the moment, so we're going to pass on it. Great find, though, is the level 3 Revolver. For one thing, this isn't a level 4 Revolver, so we don't have to sell and then purchase. And then, of course, the level 4 is much better than the level 3. Take the HP there and roll. Now, of course, we're finding more revolvers that we don't need, but we'll pick up the injection as well. All right, can we make it past wave 11 here? So far, just judging by the amount of damage we're doing, the Wisdom purchase was not good, because we actually killed the boss before the Wisdom kicked in. So So that means it just made our elite kill slower. I wasn't expecting to quite have that much damage output, though we did get some more high damage output items in between buying the wisdom and now. And it's definitely helping with the baby elephant, though that's still not actually killing enemies for us. I also really need baby gecko or Sif's relic or something like that to scale the baby elephant damage. The real find here, of course, was the bandana, though. The fact that we found that has made this a much smoother run. Yeah, I'll take the night goggles. 15% crit chance is great, and range is actually quite good, especially because we have piercing shots now. Range is quite good on this character, just to make sure that we can attack even from the start of the wave. We'll take 9% speed here. Sharp bullet. The second pierce is much less valuable than the first pierce, and the negative piercing damage is increased by the one arm's passive. So we're actually going to pass on Sharp Bullet. If I had found this before Bandana, I'd definitely have taken it. But in this spot, I think we don't want to decrease our piercing damage. So we're going to roll past Sharp Bullet. Very rare that you'll see me do that on ranged characters, but for this one, I think we need to, because we only have the one weapon. Take the movement speed and the plant there, and then of course we're going to take focus. We only have a single weapon, so we only lose 3% attack speed and gain 60% damage from it. So that's an amazing item for us. We'll see if I regret passing that Sharp Bullet, but I think the Sharp Bullet is just going to decrease our damage output in the next couple waves. Eventually, we'll be able to mitigate it by finding a pumpkin or something. But it's really important that we maintain our lead at this point. We're keeping up with the HP of the enemies right now and the number of enemies on the field, and I really don't want to compromise that by investing in stuff that won't pay off for a couple waves. Picking up some materials here. One question I get a lot is, why don't you pick up materials? Which obviously is a hard question to answer, because the answer is I do, obviously. But I think what people are meaning when they say that is usually, why don't you immediately run to grab the material as soon as you kill an enemy and just scoop it all up instantly? And the answer is usually I'm just moving towards another enemy rather than the materials that are on the ground. It's more important to maintain wave clear than it is to maintain picking up all the materials. Yes, we left 50 materials on the ground in order, which we won't get until next wave, but we made at least 50 more materials by not putting ourselves in the corners of the map where we weren't shooting anything for several seconds, by maximizing our wave clear. So when you're looking at sort of how to move around the map, pay some attention to the materials on the ground, but it's more important to go towards the enemies. I will lose 10% damage here to pick up the metal detector. I think that will help with our income. And of course, luck is very good for us. And then here I'm just going to take 2 lifesteal. I am still a little concerned that our regeneration is quite low, as is our HP, so I want to boost that. Take the focus and the lens, and then we're going to roll here. And wheelbarrow still has time to be good, so we are going to take it, and I will take the... I guess I'll take the mutation over the head injury. Both are good. White flag is actually kind of interesting for this character, because the danger for us is just being overwhelmed by the number of enemies on the field. So this could be a white flag, a time when you see me pick white flag. It's not going to be, because this item is still trash, but... the white flag is more interesting, and if we were struggling more with wave clear, if we'd found less AoE damage, no piercing, then I might consider the white flag more strongly. So you can see I took a hit there, and we have low armor. In fact, I think I reduced my armor to 0 by picking up that wheelbarrow, and very low healing. So we're still not out of the woods. We need to fix our defensive stats. But the real challenge of this run, I think, is getting to the point where you're clearing the waves, and we are at that point. So I'm feeling okay about where we're at. Definitely still a dangerous situation, but not as bad as it was 5 waves ago when we were really struggling to actually kill the enemies. Celery tea, we're definitely passing on. We're going into an elite wave, so we do not want to double the elite's health. And also, of course, we have bonus XP gain, and it's a little bit late for the celery tea to do anything anyways. Tentacle I will take. This is a great way for us to heal, even with only 15% crit chance, 16% crit chance. The tentacle's still going to be good. I think we can do better, get a level 3 upgrade here. Do I actually just want to take 45 range? That will let us fight the elite from much further away. It does mean giving up on a stat that actually does something, but it could help us clear the goobers a little easier going into wave 14. I'm worried a little bit about the number of summons that could be on the field. So I think I've kind of talked myself into it. We're going to pick up range here. This is a weird run, so you have to do weird things, I think, sometimes. Roll here, and we will take another lens and a propeller hat, and roll. A decomposing flesh, although I do, of course, want to boost my max HP, this is going to give us like 5 to 8% lifesteal. Yeah, probably around 6% lifesteal, actually. And that's a pretty good... That's pretty good value. I would spend 6 max HP for 6 lifesteal, so I think the decomposing flesh is going to be good here. I will also take Sad Tomato. This will help with our healing quite a bit. And we'll take Alien Eyes, because this is another way to deal damage that doesn't involve having to actually fire our gun. So at this point, our damage output should be high enough to just kill the elite before we're in any danger of it actually hurting us. So I'm just trying to unload my revolver into it over and over again. Whenever I kill one of the summoners, which of course is happening sometimes in ways that I can't control because we do have a baby elephant. So whenever the baby elephant damage pops onto the summoners, it makes a bunch of little goobers, and then we have to go clean those up. That is one of the dangers of that item, and just in general items that splash damage around the map in ways that are somewhat unpredictable or uncontrollable, is on wave 14 they can be pretty dangerous, since sometimes there are enemies that you actively don't want to kill in this wave. Our clear speed here is good enough that we are able to mostly just kill the goobers as they spawn, though. Sif's Relic, obviously this is amazing. We only have 2 armor, so this boosts our armor to a much more acceptable value, and we have a baby elephant, which is a pretty significant part of our clear. So we're very happy to pick up the Sif's Relic. I'm also just going to take 3 more armor here. I want to make sure that my armor is high enough that we don't die. We'll take the Alien Eyes. Alien Baby, we do really need max HP. 15% max enemy health isn't that significant, except on the elite and boss waves. And we were killing the elites quite quickly at this point. So this is a little more interesting. This item was changed in the 1.1 beta update, so it now gives enemy health instead of enemy move speed, and is a little more interesting to take sometimes, but I think we're still going to pass on it. Take the lure, and then I will roll again. Yeah, I guess minus 16% damage for the tractor. That's going to tick on 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, so we'll get 200 materials out of it, but also some harvesting growth. I think on balance that's worth it. It's very close, though, as to whether we should take the tractor or not. Definitely taking helmet, and take the defective steroids. We want plant as well. If I can get my regen up to like around 40, I'll be feeling a lot better about this run. We had some pretty good luck in some of the early shops, but this has been a pretty clean version of this challenge run, which, as I mentioned, this is one that I have not been able to beat previously. This is a very, very difficult run. We did get things like the fertilizer and the double scar early, so that helped out a ton. And of course, it's not over yet. I don't want to give you the impression that it's over. But I think recognizing things like the ranged damage rip and tear being good is what really has helped us make it to this point. Silver Bullet is amazing on this character. It gets doubled by the one-armed, and then so that's a huge amount of bonus damage to elites and bosses. We'll take the lifesteal here, we'll take the coupon, and let's go ahead and take 2 more armor. At this point, I'm just trying not to get one-tapped. Buy all of this, and coffee, yes. Rolling again. We don't need another scar this late in the game. We don't really need a pocket factory. I don't think I want Terrified Onion at this point either. For 43, I'm not going to reroll, so a bit of a disappointing shop. We're really hoping for HP. That's the thing we want more than anything else at this point. Just maximum HP. But we can save our money and try again next shop. More damage would be good as well. 232, which is what we're hitting for at the moment, is enough to kill the elites and bosses, especially with the Silver Bullet. But we would like to kill them faster, so if we can get just more flat damage, more crit chance. Critical hit damage also is, or critical hit chance is extremely valuable right now because the base damage of our weapon is so high that the crit chances, each point of crit chance is worth a tremendous amount of damage on average. The campfire, 2 regeneration for -2 speed. Actually, with 18 speed, I think that's worth taking. Take the range damage there, and then this is really interesting, actually. So we lose 3 speed, but this massively powers up our rip and tear, and also 5 regeneration is pretty good. So I am going to take the mammoth here. It's not a game-winning item for us. Like, it's not in the top half of what we would be looking for, but I think it is pretty good. I'm just going to keep boosting armor when I see it. Just anything that multiplies our health here is excellent, and we'll just take the level 2 upgrade. Losing 4 ranged damage for 20% dodge and 5% lifesteal on the cape. I do think that's actually worth it. That will help with our lifesteal being a reasonable method of healing, and we can actually now build dodge. Buy this as well. Blood Leech. Yeah, we're using both of these stats. Blood Leech is usually only worth buying if you're using both regeneration and lifesteal, but we are, so we're going to pick it up. And then a Cyclops Worm is a great find here as well. Definitely do not want the ball and chain. Our cooldown is 0.1 seconds, and that would multiply our cooldown by almost 7. But we will take 4 ranged damage off the reinforced steel. Alright, let's see how fast we kill this boss. Should be pretty fast thanks to the Silver Bullet. Yeah, not the world's fastest elite kill, but definitely up there with them. And again, we killed it before the Wisdom was positive damage, so the Wisdom has only just cost us time on these elite kills. I actually don't think the Wisdom has been terrible this game, because it's helping the baby elephant be useful wave clear later in the waves. If we had found also more baby elephants and cyber balls, then the Wisdom would be correspondingly better as well. Obviously, it's not a huge help for our gun, because our gun just does so much damage already that the Wisdom damage bonus isn't super relevant, but for our non-weapon sources of damage, like the baby elephant and the rip and tear, it's pretty useful. Bloody Hand we're definitely taking. 1 damage per second. We have plenty of regeneration and lifesteal to fix, and this gives us plus 32 damage. So it's going to be 26 times 2 is 52 percent damage, and that gets doubled by the one-armed bonus, so we should be getting 104% damage from picking up the Bloody Hand, so up to 228 damage. Take some armor here as well. Yeah, Mouse also now increases our damage output because of the Bloody Hand. I might not take this otherwise, especially if we'd found it earlier in the run where we were in more danger of getting overwhelmed by the number of enemies around. But now that we have Bloody Hand and pretty good wave clear, we're definitely taking Mouse. We'll take the damage here, and we'll grab this. I'm 3 material short of buying the duct tape. I think, given that, I'm going to pass on it, because 50 HP is pretty low, so I actually want to roll for HP. I think Alloy is too good for this build to pass on, so I'll just accept that we're not really building dodge. But I am going to pass on the luck items. I think the only thing we need at this point is max HP and damage. So I'm just going to pass on the luck items, and we will hope to find those as soon as we can. Obviously, the decomposing flesh is part of why we are at low max HP, because we're no longer gaining HP from level ups. But it's also giving us a ton of lifesteal and damage, so the decomposing flesh has been very good for this run. Decomposing flesh is a funny design. I've talked about this before, because it's the item that the vampire unlocks when you win a run with vampire. You get decomposing flesh, but it's terrible for the vampire. It's actively quite harmful for them, whereas for a lot of other characters, it's excellent. So most of the time, the items that a character unlocks will be particularly good for that character. Decomposing flesh is an exception to that, and it's interesting that they went that direction with the design. Take this. Explosion damage, yeah, we're actually doing a lot of explosion damage, so we'll pick that up as well. And then here, I'm going to roll for max HP or armor, dodge, just anything that helps us survive. Though I'll just take 2 range damage. Our range damage actually is not that high for a one-armed run that's been buying ranged damage. I have reduced it a couple times, but I would like to boost this a little bit more, especially because we get we get 200% scaling, so double scaling with the range damage on the revolver. Jetpack we'll take, and yeah, I'll take a jelly. It's only 1 health, but 1 health is more than 0 health. More stunning insights here. And losing 5 HP, definitely a problem, but the move speed and dodge are really good, so we will take the jetpack here. Gonna roll 1 more time, and we'll take the damage. I keep buying items that reduce my health, but they're all really good items, so we have to do that. And who needs health if the enemies are dead? So you can see, even just with the mouse, that's our only enemy increasing item. We are starting to struggle a little bit to clear this wave 19 wave, just because there's a lot of enemies on the field. And the tentacles are actually beefy enough to survive our gunshots, despite the incredible amount of damage that each of them does. Yep, we'll take 1 HP there, and I'm going to take the 12 HP. I could take 12% dodge, because we're about to buy dodge as well, but I think just 12 max HP is going to be the most useful. It just makes it much less likely that we just get popped, especially because I'm about to buy some negative HP. Roll here. A little late for the baby elephant to be useful, I think, but it's probably better than nothing, so we'll take that. Weird Ghost is kind of interesting. How fast will we heal up the Weird Ghost damage? pretty fast, probably, because we do have 33% lifesteal. But of course it will be very embarrassing if I die. But what's the... So I'm sort of asking myself the difference between having to heal 62 HP before we take a hit and having to heal 31, 32 HP before we take a hit because of the sad tomato. And then is that 3 max HP likely to make the difference to our survival? I think the answer is no, but I actually think the Weird Ghost is closer to being correct to purchase here than you might imagine. I think that because we need max HP and we have a lot of healing to get back to full before we take a hit, the Weird Ghost is almost correct to buy. I think it's not, but I think that a lot of times people will just dismiss that out of hand because it's Weird Ghost in a boss wave, and there it actually is worth thinking about. We're going to pass on the bag. Sad to see this in wave 20, of course. And we wish we could take the ritual here. Let's just roll and see what we would have gotten. Both Whetstone and Bandana would have been excellent, of course, but not to be. So let's just go ahead and go to wave 20. So yeah, so if we'd bought the Weird Ghost, we would still be in danger of being one-shot, which is why I said it's probably not worth picking up at that point. But if we had even like 10 more regeneration, I think the Weird Ghost would have been a good purchase. As is, though, we had a ton of damage, and we killed the bosses very, very quickly. So, there you go. I'm pretty pleased with that, honestly. I wasn't expecting to win this one on my first try. This is an extremely difficult run. Or first try on camera. I have tried it off camera, so let me not take credit for something I didn't actually do. But I wasn't expecting to win this run first try in this recording, and we got there. Taking a look at some of the early items, the 2 fertilizers were great. The double early scar was really important to this run. We got a lot of free stats out of that. But I think the real inflection point here was picking up the Rip and Tear. I think if we hadn't done that, we would certainly have lost on wave 9. And so the Rip and Tear was huge for our success in this run. And then also helped with wave clear throughout the rest of the run, but really, really important for the wave that we got it on. 40,000 damage from the Baby Elephant. Not the most damage from Baby Elephant on the one-armed. Often this becomes like your primary source of damage, which it didn't this time, but it was still very good. And obviously finding the Sif's Relic was excellent. The Alienize did help a little bit. It wasn't tremendous for us, but was pretty helpful. The Decomposing Flesh worked out very well. We got a lot of stats from it, so we got 7 lifesteal from it, which, of course, was also 28% damage from the Bloody Hand. So everything all worked together to make this run quite winnable. Alright, my friends, hope you enjoyed that challenge run. This was an awesome one, and I'm pretty stoked that I beat it first try on camera. So, as always, of course, if you have enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out, of course, with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato, challenge runs and otherwise, and other strategy game content. Cheers, my friends. I'll catch you next time.